the people. That's all of us. It's all of you. It's our fine, lovely guest here. And it's my fine, lovely friend here of the United States. We're supposed to be united in order to form a more perfect union. I think we're working on the perfect union part. I think that got thrown out. Establish justice. We had in Atlanta, the police force decided not to show up in 3 districts of Atlanta today. I don't know if that's justice. Ensure domestic tranquility. They're going to have a big tranquility problem there in a little bit. Police are fed up, right? Everybody's fed up. People are fed up with them. They're fed up with people. Provide for the common defense. Is that common defense? Is that going to be martial law? I don't know. There's threats of that. Promote the general welfare. Well, apparently you see a bunch of movement trucks in neighborhoods because people are going bankrupt. Unemployment. How many million? Unemployment? 30 million, something like that. For the blessings of liberty, that got tossed out. And our posterity, I don't even know what posterity means, so let's skip that part. Do ordain and establish the Constitution of the United. That's what we're trying to get back to, is unity. It's the ultimate principle, is oneness of America. So thank you very much. And today we are absolutely thrilled. 3 weeks ago, maybe been 3 weeks, met this fine, lovely woman through Facebook, and she started an organization called the FTBA, Freedom to Breathe Agency, because here is a woman that wasn't born in the United States, but has more patriotism and takes a stand for our rights more than many people that were born and are standing on this soil. So thank you, Lenka Coloma, for being here with us today. And
it's a great pleasure.
Yeah, so getting to, well, we're both in the FTBA, and we're at the first inaugural meeting, but getting to know you, you have a fascinating life story. So really, we want to help people get to know the woman behind the purpose. So if you could just go through that so people can know who you are and why you do the things you do, then I think you will find today's podcast absolutely not only intriguing and fascinating, but you're probably going to want to watch this a couple times. So make sure you stay all the way through. So start from the beginning.
Like, you're not putting any pressure on me, right? Yeah. So anyway, it's great to be here with you guys. And yes, I have quite a story. So I was born and raised in communist Czechoslovakia. So communism is very familiar to me. I spent, majority of my life living in communist country before I came here to United States. And my family lived through World War I, World War II. So they experienced fascism. Our area where we used to live is Sudet, so that was confiscated by the Nazis. So yeah, we have quite the stories. And when I was about 15 years old, I met this man from America, and he told me about this land where, you have big supermarkets with plenty of food, and you can have a job, and you can build a career, and you can buy a car, and you can own a house, and you can go on vacations. And it was like a God descended in front of me and portrayed heaven. And in that moment, I decided I'm going to live in America, and I'm going to experience the American dream. But we were still a communist country, we couldn't leave. So that was actually my first introduction, how to really bend reality and create the life of your dreams. So now here I am, 27 years later. But my story really started, I was not only born in communist Czechoslovakia, communist country, but I was also born handicapped. And the doctors basically said that my right arm will never function again. It was completely pulled out of socket. But my parents did not give up on me. They had different plans for me. So they put me through this very difficult, complex therapy. It was almost like a torture where I had to exercise the arm every 2 hours for 2 years. And we basically created a miracle. My arm healed completely, that today, you wouldn't be able to tell, any difference. But those 2 years of this almost torturous therapy we had to do as a newborn kind of embedded this warrior kind of spirit in my you know, in my DNA. And that's kind of how I went on with life, that you know, I became this unstoppable kind of force, if you will, that if I feel that something is right, I just go for it. And so that takes us to FTBA, because I really, when I moved to United States, I just started to see that there is a lot of things that most people couldn't see, because when you are born here, you know, you have different kind of perspective than when you are not born here. And so while I was very much enjoying the lifestyle and building the American dream, becoming very successful, building amazing career.
Well, let me interrupt you for a sec,
Yeah.
because there's important stories. You know, I know your story. So you came here at 19, basically had pennies in your pocket with nothing. You told everybody it.
$10. $10.
Huh?
I had $10. I had $10.
Yeah, you're right. So, okay, excuse me. It was a $10 bill, maybe
Yeah.
two fives. I don't know, five and five ones. I don't know. But yeah, but the bottom line is, everybody in Czechoslovakia is telling you, you can't do it. You can't do it. And you're like, I'm going to do it. And so you end up here, you got $10 in your pocket, you don't know anybody, and then you just decided, I'm gonna be successful. And then
Right.
you went over. So yeah, take it from there.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I teach today, is that, you know, really aligning ourselves with our dreams, and really what our vision is for our life, because we are eventually, you know, creators, but most people don't really realize what it takes, that we have that capability, that capacity. So finally, when I left communist Czechoslovakia, when, you know, everyone said, well, it's absolutely impossible, and on a physical level it was absolutely impossible, because I had no money, I had no connections, we were a communist country, so you couldn't leave the country, I had no job, I had no citizenship, and I didn't even speak English. But yet, deep inside, I knew that I'm going to come to United States and I'm going to live the American dream. And so I went and I told everyone, and everyone would laugh at me. Well, how are you going to do it? And when are you going to do it? And I smiled back at them and I said, you know, I don't know how and I don't know when, but I know that I will. And so I did. And so I came to the United States finally, right? And I had the same dream, even though my reality was really not that promising. I had only $10 to my name. I had another dream. I knew that I am going to become successful. And once again, people said, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? You know, I had no citizenship. I had no financial backing. I had no credit cards. But the one thing I had was my dream. And once again, I aligned with the vibration of that dream, of that vision. And there was absolutely no doubt that I'm going to achieve it. So I went and I worked very hard and was very aligned with that dream. And sure enough, you know, I became very successful high-tech executive from zero, from nothing. And very interesting was, you know, so, you know, the idea, everyone thinks, well, you know, when you become very successful and you become wealthy and you achieve all the things, that's when the happiness comes. That's when the bliss, you know, you find the bliss. So I come from nothing and I climb, you know, to the top of the mountain, and I am flying first class, and I'm, you know, staying at these luxurious hotels and everywhere. And my biggest concern of the world was that the American Airlines stopped serving caviar on their first class flights. That was my world's problem. Right. So I am living this life of luxury and everything. And yet the more I was having, the less I was being on the inside. And because of, you know, living this fast-paced executive life, I had a lot of stress. I was building anxiety, and that eventually led into building many diseases in my body that eventually, you know, manifested in cancer. And that was quite the wake-up call, you know, when you realize, oh my gosh, you have everything on the financial material standpoint, but you are losing the most important wealth, which is your health. And that was really a major crossroad I hit, and that was a wake-up call. And I had to switch. I had to decide, am I going to destroy myself, or am I going to fix myself and change my journey, because I was not going too far.
Yeah, so you ended up healing yourself naturally, but then you end up you had a bad gallbladder, you ended up at a hospital. You have to get a surgery or you're gonna die. And then you
Right.
had a
So
life-changing experience.
right. So after I built cancer in my body, right? I healed my cancer through detoxification and just cleansing the body and cleaning my diet and just my lifestyle. But I still wasn't healed on the energy level, on the emotional level. There was just so much still, battle within me. And that eventually led me to near-death experience, where I was dying in a hospital. I had acute cholecystitis. I had hepatitis, and it was also going to my pancreas. So I was hours from dying, and the doctor said that they have to remove my gallbladder. And that night in the hospital, I because I don't take obviously pain medications and anything like that, so I had so excruciating gallbladder attack, which was my 10th attack, that I could no longer take it. It was beyond this world. Giving birth was like nothing in comparison to that. And so that's when I had to completely surrender to what is, and I had to face, dying, going through death. And that experience took me to the other side, where I realized.
Well, tell about that experience. Tell about the darkness and the light.
Yeah, so it was scary, because when you are, it's actually really funny, because today when people speak to me and I explain things to them, they say, "Oh my gosh, you are so lucky, you are so fortunate, you are so blessed." I'm like, well, yeah, now, but back then, when you are going through this experience, what most people would do is, because it's so scary and it's so painful, they would reach for the painkillers. And that would basically, take them away from that experience of just, going through the darkness and going to the other side, where you literally have to let go of everything. And so surrendering to the fear of the end and of the unknown, I think is the most amazing experience, because once you let go of all you cherish, all you cling on, all and you embrace the unknown, that's when the whole universe opens to you. And
well,
so
yeah, I mean, tell going into the light, and actually tell that experience where you died, went to heaven and came back.
Yeah, so after I let go, I basically, the way how I describe it is, I let go from being in my mind, and I went into my heart. Because when we are in the mind is filled with all fear-based beliefs of, oh, I will no longer be here, I'm leaving my family behind, my children, oh my gosh, this is the end, because we've never experienced it before, right? So when we let go of all those beliefs, all those ideas, I was able to go into my heart. And when I went into my heart, that's when the light came in the darkness. And it was really incredible, because the light literally came into my dark room in the hospital. It entered me, and I entered the light. So we became one. And that's when I traveled literally across the earth and to the cosmos. And it's very interesting today when people show me pictures from place I physically haven't been. I've been there, because I've been there, I've been everywhere. Like this light, imagine like you are this amazing eternal infinite light that can go and do and be and have and just anything, right? And you don't have to book a flight, you don't have to take your luggage,
go through TSA.
go to the airport. No, you just go, you go anywhere and you go everywhere. So it was the most amazing experience. But it was very interesting, because then there was the message, there was a vibrational message, which said that I have 7 days, that I have to come back, and I have 7 days to heal my gallbladder. and I have to speak the truth to others. And it was almost like I didn't want to go. I didn't want to come back. But they said, well, no, you have to go back. And it wasn't a voice, it was a vibration. So I come back and I told the doctors, that I am not going to have the gallbladder removed, that I'm going to heal it, that I know that this is going to happen. It's going to heal. Of course, the doctors thought that I, lost my mind, that I went a little cuckoo, that you are going to die. This is impossible, because, the diagnosis were just very dramatic. But I called my girlfriend that she got to get me out of the hospital. So she came, she rescued me, and I healed my gallbladder in 7 days. And then I went back for for ultrasound, not because of me, but because of everyone else was freaking out, was scared, like this cannot be possible. And they did the after ultrasound, and they compared with the before. And it was like nothing has happened to my gallbladder. There was not a single mark that there was anything. And the 7 days before, the gallbladder was completely destroyed. There was ulceration. There was inflammation, hardened. The organ was literally destroyed. So that's the healing powers we have.
So Lenka, just two things. I love your story, by the way. I had two instances. One, I was about to get an operation sometime around 3 or 4 years of age. Saw the lights around the table, and don't remember much of that, but I was definitely outside. Mm-hmm. And then number two, and this is my point, which I didn't know anybody else who mentioned this except for you, but the second time I almost died, I got a message from God, and I felt like it was a verbal message. And it said, you're going to be a chiropractor. I was 17 at this point. And he said, you're going to give hope where hope is lost. So what I find so interesting about what happened to you and what happened to me is we both got marching orders. Like, yes, you got your life back. You're back on this planet. Now here's what you're going to do. And so I think there's a certain boldness with people who've had this message that you have to kind of march forth and do what you got to do while you're on this planet remaining.
Yes, right. And the interesting part is, that once you experience that, right, what are you going to be afraid of?
Right. So true. It removes all that fear.
It removes all the fear. And it's not that, I am hazardous with my life today, not at all. But it really literally gives you wings to fly, that anything is possible. And you really understand how this universe functions. And you are able actually to work with the energies, because, we are energy beings. And this is where the true science, the future of science is, because it is in the energy field. So, until now, we've been really working in the material field, which is very limited. But when we move to the energy field, because, the organs, everything is made out of molecules that are made out of atoms, that is made out of energy. So when we move to understanding how this energy works, how vibration works, and how to really increase the inner calibration, how to help the organs heal, these healing miracles, we can all do. I'm not any more special than anyone else out there.
Well, I would like to say for all those people that even though I was an adrenaline junkie and I've come this close to dying, but have not had a near-death experience, let's just say we don't need to have that experience to know what you know. Right. So here's where learning from others could be could be helpful.
Yes, you still are an adrenaline junkie.
Well, that's true.
You still go
that's beside the point. So anyway, go ahead.
I was going to transition into the passion she has right now for the face mask. So what I find really like another attraction to your movement and your passion was I had my near-death from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So I struggled every moment of every day, not knowing if I was going to be able to take that next breath. And you breathe in about 14 times a minute. And breath not only has a spiritual component, that pneuma, that word spirit is the word breath, but also breath is something that's the most essential thing to our life. And so it's fascinating to me that we're doing something to be healthy by restricting our breath. So let's talk about how you got into this, the face mask, and why that's such,
FTBA.
and why it's so important for you.
My gosh, it just, I guess it naturally just evolved with everything going on, for me, really truly understanding how the body functions, what builds health, what builds disease, how pathogens work, what is virus, what is not, right? It just really kind of was building up, and the whole confusion, and just the manipulation by ignorance, that majority of people have been basically taught that they have absolutely no healing power, that the healing power is delivered, through external experts. So people completely surrendered, themselves to the external. And so now, it's so very easy to be manipulated. And so when I saw what was happening with, oxygen is our number one nutrient. And without food, we can survive for two months. Without water, 2 days. But without oxygen, less than 2 minutes. And yet, we just don't even realize how important it is. And to even mention that most people are breathing very shallowly. And so now, on top of that, we are basically putting further obstruction on their number one most important nutrient flow. So to me, it was criminal. And that's why I said we have to really take action. We have to educate the public. We have to help people, because if we don't, we will start to see some really major diseases out there, jeopardized immune systems. Cancer alone, when you deprive healthy cells of oxygen, within 48 hours, they start turning carcinogenic. So this is a direct correlation to cancer. This is direct correlation to respiratory issues, lung issues, heart disease. We have to take it very seriously. And for me, being very, closely involved with health and helping people, I just felt a natural need and obligation to start a movement.
Well, and I understand there's people on there that think, the mask prevent the disease and blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like people that are pro-vaccination. And of course, there's boatloads of research. We're not going to get into all that. But I would say the same thing with vaccination, and that is when the cure becomes worse than the cause. Now we have a problem, right? Is the coronavirus, are people getting sick? Well, we can get into all that too. It's a virus. I get it. That's not what this is about. But when the cure becomes more detrimental than the cause.
Right. And what we have to understand is that the existing health establishment is a for-profit business. So this is not some charity organization, and you need repeated customers, and there is no money in healthy people and no money in dead people, but there is a lot of money in people in between. And so this is what we are dealing with. We are dealing with medical oppression. This has nothing to do with health. This has all to do with selling drugs and treatments.
Well, yeah, and by the way, I just saw an article today. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, just signed $1 billion deal with China for masks.
Yeah.
And they've already gotten a down payment, $497 million, first down payment, right?
Yes.
So that's exactly what you're talking about is the business. Now, so you're like, you know what? So you came, because when I met you, you go, you know what? I've been through communism. I've seen communism overthrown. The people, by the way, who's that? All of us.
It's us. It's us.
What you told me was, you said we the people can overthrow the government, meaning the things that are going wrong, that we can stand up. And isn't that what the Constitution's about?
Right. And let's not forget our Declaration of Independence, right? That it is not our right, it's our duty.
Declaration
is when there is an overreach of government. And we also have to remember, what's the purpose of government? Government is to serve people, there to be for people. But yet we've allowed, that to become this monster. That's exactly the opposite. And we have to realize that, we have choice. You know, freedom is our first birthright. We came to this life to experience this life. And only a person who doesn't realize that, you know, that, yeah, I am in charge. I am in charge of my reality. I am in charge of my destiny. I am in charge of my health. So claiming your power back and really developing this self-responsibility and accountability, self-governance, really makes you understand, well, I don't need anyone to tell me how to live and how to be happy.
Well, that's
I
exactly
am
the opposite of
I'm
what
a free human.
yeah, that's not what government wants. Government wants control ultimately.
Exactly.
And the founding
Exactly.
fathers of this country, who I think that was a spiritual document because they put things into that document that's just now starting to happen right now. But let's just talk about Dr. Fred's point about the cure is worse than the cause.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yes.
about when we force people, let me say this at one point,
Yeah.
we force people into our houses because we thought that's what was best. So let's think about that. We took people, one of them might have been slightly sick. You force them into a house with the rest of the family. You have them not go outside and get sunshine or exercise. You're going to certainly spread that sickness within that family unit. But more importantly than that, what we're seeing because of these measures, Dr. Fred likes this word, draconian.
Yeah, I love that word.
Which is
Yes, yes.
really, yeah, it's really aggressive orders to take control, take our liberties away, is resulting in a suicide rate that we don't even know,
Yes.
but we can probably predict is going to be much higher than even the bloated COVID-19 deaths. And again, like
Absolutely.
Dr. Fred said, we're not going to take anything away from those people who did die because it's a tragic death. And much of which was probably caused by ventilation issues, or not much of which, some of which. But my point is this, Lenka, is that speaking to the point of taking away liberties, what's going on with this is we are forcing people to alter their lifestyle, and we're causing things like domestic violence, substance abuse, alcoholism is on a rise.
Mm-hmm.
People can no longer do 12 steps. And I know for a fact that domestic violence and women's shelters are overflowing
Around. Yep.
people because we're making certain decisions which not really in people's best interests.
Yeah, so you decided, thanks, brother. So you decided to take a stand. You formed the FTBA. So let's talk specifically about that.
Yeah, so FTBA stands for Freedom to Breathe Agency, and I think it's not just that. It's basically a symbol of liberty, of really understanding that you know, we really allowed ourselves to kind of detached from really knowing who we are and why we are, and you know that disconnect has really grown more and more. And for that, people you know, people feel that they are living in society that was not really built for the human spirits, because people are not happy, they don't feel good, right? And it's been done by purpose, it's been done by design. And so we've entered into this really interesting and exciting period of time where, you know, this is the awakening, this is the great awakening, where, you know, more and more people are awakening to who they truly are and start to realize what has been done, all this control and manipulation, which is the mind control. That's, you know, people don't realize the power of the mind, the power of the brain. And if they are not in charge of the way of their existence, if they are not mastering the self-mastery, someone else will for them. And that's what's been done.
Yeah, so now, I mean, we've gone to protests. We have some amazing people in that organization. You know, you guys look at the the other podcast. Lee Dundas was a civil human rights attorney. She's in the FTPA. Tomorrow we're doing Peggy Hall. By the time you see this, there'll be another one, Peggy Hall. God, she stands up. This woman is just a terminator on legalities. We have so many people that are involved, and you're getting emails from all over the world that people not only want to be in the organization, but they're telling you, what do I do? How do I stay healthy? I don't know what to do in the world today.
Yeah, so my vision is very simple. I really believe that we have all the tools, we have know-how, we have all the technologies to really empower our people into great health, wellness, prosperity, and abundance. There is plenty for everyone on this planet to thrive. Once we start really being smart about it, we have everything. This planet is producing for us, and we can feed, shelter, and take care of every single human being when we do it right. And so that's what we are creating. That's my vision, that really unite not only United States, but unite humanity, so we can rise higher, so we can finally, realize that this is heaven on earth. We have it available right now, and we like a switch, we can turn it on when we realize what has been done, and we just simply say thank you, but no thank you. We don't want to live like this anymore, and we kind of make that shift to that higher vibrational field where we have great leaders. We basically have everything at our disposal. And so it's really about creating a hub, because there is so many already activities going on around the world. So my idea was really bringing people together, and together really deploying this idea that yes, we can do so much better for all of us, not just some small percentage of people, but all of us. And this is, if I was talking about it like 10 years ago, I've been talking about this for the longest time. People thought it is utopia. No, it is not utopia. It is available to us. And if you go back and you look at and you read all the scriptures, that's what all those people were talking about. And now we are at that point. We are now at that point of the great awakening. So I see this, that anyone who is here right now in this life is part of the most amazing, thing that we can truly manifest.
Yes. What were you going to say?
Well, first of all, she just did
Eliminates.
Like my brain's go with so many conversations. Like each one of those points, I'd love to have a conversation with you about, by the way. So
I know.
It's awesome. It's so cool. So just a couple of things. We can all have that abundance. I have a big Bible verse as you come into our office. It's Ephesians 3:20, that we can have exceedingly abundantly more than we can ever imagine. That's like a promise.
Yeah.
That's
right.
It's there for us. It's the law.
Right. It's the law. It's the law of the universe is that it functions in abundance. It functions in joy, in harmony, in unconditional love. That's the vibration of the universe, and so it's all available to us. We've just been kind of disconnected from it from a while, but now we are coming back to it. And so my vision is kind of show people what we can have, and help to lead, not just by myself, but with all these powerful, empowered, awakened leaders to basically help people to transition, to make the shift, to ascend.
Nice. That's the ultimate goal, is ascension. So we're going to wrap this up here. First of all, tell people how they can get to FTBA. How would they contact you or get to the FTBA?
Yeah, so FTBA, we have a Facebook group. That's a great way to kind of connect with us. We have also our website is FTB Agency, FTB Frank Tom Boy Agency.com. If people are interested in my story, they can find me on lenkakoloma.com. And yeah, we do weekly talks on Facebook, and just really stay connected.
Yeah, nice. Any last words that you would like to leave people with?
Yeah, so I like to say that, that we all are in different parts of our, journey, right, in this life. And so what I like to say is that this is happening for us. This is not happening to us. That everything that we are experiencing right now is here for us, and we decide what we do with it. And we all can really make the shift. We can all just decide that I am ready. I am ready for this transformation. I'm ready for this life of abundance and joy and happiness. And and we can all heal, and we can thrive, and finally we can really experience what we truly came here for.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Lenka. Yeah, that's an hour and 2 minutes, gang, but it certainly was compelling. That was a very fast hour and 2 minutes. So, hey, thank you. We love you, and we'll see you at the FTV meetings. And
thank you.
Yeah, we'll come back around and we'll do another one here in a little while. So,
okay, thank you guys.
And hey, love you guys. Hey, check out all the other podcasts, man. We're loading them up. We just loaded up Del Bigtree. Again, Lee Dundas, Peggy Hall's coming. We got a bunch more coming.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Resurrecting Our Freedom. If you also believe in upholding our constitutional freedoms, please like, subscribe, and follow us.